Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Aitzil and welcome to another video on my channel. Something a little bit different this time because I'm taking a step away from streaming and doing some more static content, some shorter videos for you to enjoy. Right now, I don't have my wheel. I am in the process of getting a new wheel, so my G29 is going to someone else. So hopefully we can get another person started on the sim racing journey, as I did just a year back with the G29. This phase where I don't have my wheel and I'm waiting for my new wheel to arrive, it has caused a little bit of a dilemma because I have major withdrawal symptoms from sim racing right now. Though I may not be very good at it, it is a passion of mine, and getting behind the wheel and just doing a couple of races can majorly help de-stressing me a little bit after the events of the day. But because I don't have my wheel right now, that causes a little bit of an issue. But it's allowed me to see a slightly different side of sim racing, a side that I didn't really explore for very long, because immediately when I realized that I could get a wheel and it was within my budget, I straight away went and bought a G29. But there are many people out there, especially young, enthusiastic sim racers within India, who don't really have the money to go there and spend 25,000 rupees on a brand new sim racing wheel. In this post-COVID climate, in terms of pricing on these sim racing wheels, even an entry-level wheel like a T150 goes for in excess of 25,000 rupees. Which begs the question, what do you do? Especially if you want to get into hardcore sim racing titles like ACC, iRacing, or anything that comes to mind really. These titles definitely require more specialized hardware. You can't really get by on a controller. In fact, I still have my controller actually. Damn, I still have it. So, it got me interested in something. Can you get by on one of these? Can you use one of these on a hardcore simulator? And if you can, how enjoyable is the experience? Is it viable in the long term, and can you really sim race on one of these, especially on a hardcore game like ACC? Not to put aside the F1 guys, but F1 is designed for a more general gaming audience, and it also has to be console friendly. So definitely the F1 game was designed with this in mind. ACC was not, and definitely in the most recent patch, ACC has become a little bit unplayable on controller unless you really have to persevere with it. I'm going to persevere for your entertainment, and I'm going to see just how viable these are, these gamepads. So let's get into the sim. Okay, so the first game we're going to try out is iRacing. I think it's only right that I give iRacing some love, considering I've been spending a lot of time in iRacing recently. More importantly, iRacing is one of those games where in the past it has been mostly played on a wheel. This is not a game that's generally considered to be something that's controller friendly, so we're just going to have a look in iRacing and see what it's like on a controller. First things first though, let me go ahead and show you my iRacing settings to show you that I have calibrated my controller. Let's have a look and see what it's like. We are currently driving around Donington Park in the Dallara F3 car. I think it's only right that, considering it's Donington Park in GT3 this week in IRC, we should give Donington Park a little bit of love. This is the problem with controllers. You have way too much steering lock happening very quickly. There is a trick that I've learned though over the years of using a controller on racing games, which is to rotate the analog stick through the full arc of rotation like this. So maybe that can be a little bit better at being able to give it a little finer inputs. Driving it like how you would on Forza means you're giving it very choppy inputs like that, which is really bad. Let's get out on track here. Ay. That is also another aspect of iRacing. When the car goes, it goes. And you're not going to catch it after that. Oh, bollard. We'll ignore that. Oh, there's a lot of steering lock for that corner. The tires scrub massively through there. Ay. Can drive it. I think it is fairly drivable. How you set up the car is obviously going to change because your inputs change. Another thing that you can't do is give sort of snap steering inputs like I did there. So if we just go back into the replay here, you have to quickly go from steering left to slowly start to steering the car right. Also, I think I may have clipped a little bit too much gravel there, which I did, and got too much angle, and obviously that spun us out. So it's not straightforward, but it is definitely playable. But obviously we're not going to end it with iRacing right there, because I feel like we can definitely do a couple more things in iRacing, because iRacing is not just a game for open wheelers. iRacing is also a game, although a lot of people are going to hate me for calling it a game. iRacing is definitely a simulator where you can try out more than just open wheelers. Unlike the F1 game or ACC where you're limited to a single class of car, iRacing is one of the few active simulators out there with a huge online presence for more than just one type of motor. So we're going to try out a couple other cars in iRacing while we can. We're currently in the maintenance break, so we can try any car and any track combo that we can. Let's also try some oval tracks, and we'll also try some prototypes. Let's go. So we're now at the Red Bull Ring in the Dallara P217. Let's see how it does. And let's see how this feels on a controller. I don't know what layout of the Red Bull Ring I have picked here. Okay, I guess this will have to do. Steering feels a lot more twitchy with this car than it does with open wheeler. Indeed, we run very wide. Let's see how it goes. This car doesn't have ABS. I don't know if it has traction control. We're just going to ignore the game. Got a bit of logic in my mind, which is that if it's easy to drive on controller, it's probably going to be easy to drive on a wheel. Oi, 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 oi. Cut! Come on, turn. To this day, I didn't even know that the Red Bull Ring had alternative layouts. This is the first I'm hearing of it. Oh, okay. Definitely carrying way too much speed. Again, we're gonna ignore track limits here. Screw you. One thing's for sure though, getting used to no ABS on a controller is a lot easier than it is to get used to no ABS on a wheel. Because it is a lot easier to modulate the brakes with your index finger than it is to do with your feet. At least it is for me in this game. That corner and me are not getting along well. Such a fun track though, the Red Bull Ring. Let's try to do a single lap, man. Jeez. Once again, we'll ignore the dumbass cone. It's taking us onto the other circuit apparently. Damn. Cannot seem to get that corner right at all. But yeah, it's definitely drivable, and I think with enough practice you might be able to do it. So now that we've checked out an open wheeler and a prototype car, I think we'll go to something a little bit more unconventional, something that you might not see on other games, and that's oval racing cars. And I think I've got just the right combo, and it comes to mind. Oh, so apparently today is Jose Mourinho's birthday. I'm just figuring that out right now. Damn. Happy birthday, Jose. Hope you have a good one. We've mixed it up a little bit more now. We're at the Iowa Speedway with the Toyota Supra Class B NASCAR. This is an oval car designed to be raced on ovals. I mean, NASCARs can also be driven on road courses, but their main appeal has always been on ovals. So we selected a slightly smaller oval. This is definitely not a super speedway. 1.41 kilometers, 4 turns. Let's see how this goes. Also, can I just say it feels really weird to hear a Toyota with a V8 that sounds like that. It just feels so odd. It feels so sacrilegious. Also, one thing I'm immediately noticing right after coming from the LMP2 car is the lack of twitchiness in the steering. Oh yeah, quite too far, too close to the wall. So the one thing that I do know about oval racing, I've recently gotten a lot into it. Primarily because of iRacing, because I just wanted to try it out. Very odd seeing an Indian interested in NASCAR. I think in terms of Indians getting involved in American sports, as I run very wide here, I think interested Indians can definitely be interested in, you know, baseball and basketball, rugby, NFL, rugby, American football. To call it football is a scam. Oi! Woo! Massive slide there. Slot into fourth gear. Let's see if we can do a good lap. Chuck it in. Definitely felt like the faster way through the corner as we hit the wall twice there. Have to jab on the brakes a little bit because I was not confident going into turn. Oh, now we're already across the line again. The crazy part about these cars is if you get the line absolutely right on these ovals, you don't have to go near the brakes at all. You can just ride these curves all day long without any real issue. 310 slower on that lap. So that's it for oval racing cars and iRacing. I'd definitely say you can do it. You can totally do oval racing with a controller because the amount of steering input that you give isn't a lot, and I mean you're only really turning left anyway. So if you are getting into iRacing and you want to do some oval racing, I definitely see myself being able to do this with a little bit of practice. I have one more game to show you before we wrap up this video, and that's going to be ACC. So let's see how we can do on ACC. So let's go ahead and hop into that. So we are now in ACC. We're at Donington Park in the BMW M4, the stunning new GT3 car from BMW. Let's go ahead and hop out on track and see what we can do. However, before that, I think I have to change over my control scheme, which I have done. There we go. What we can do is, since I don't have all the controls mapped, I can turn on the ignition and starter using my keyboard, and then we can go from there. Okay, so on ACC I know what I'm doing, as in terms of what line to take, where to brake, etc, etc. So it's a little bit helpful there, but still this is, I was gonna say fairly drivable. I remember a long time ago I had a illegitimate copy of ACC, let's say. I'm not gonna say much more than that. And on that copy I had the British GT pack, and I used to drive this track a lot because this is one of the few tracks I actually remembered from playing Assetto Corsa, because there's a very good mod for Assetto Corsa for Donington Park. It's a shame because I've lived in the UK. I've never been to any British track. I've driven past Silverstone, but I've never been to a British track ever. I think I should make it a bucket list that I do that sometime soon. Why do I feel more in control of my car in controller than I do on the wheel? Maybe I'm just really bad on a wheel. I can do 130 on controller. The thing is that while I am pretty happy just, you know, hot lapping like this, ACC is more than just hot lapping, right? It's also racing. Having prerequisite knowledge of both the track and the car is pretty helpful though. I roughly know what I want the That's way too much turning. Look at way too slowly done. I roughly know what I want the car to do. I roughly know where I wanted it to go. It's definitely not easy, but it is definitely possible. So, what can I say about racing on the controller? Should you do it? Shouldn't you do it? Is it really a viable option for proper hardcore sim games? The simple answer is yes, but the optimum answer is it is possible, but it's probably not the recommended option. Controller like this would definitely work on a simcade such as Forza or F1, but to see it being viable, to see it being a fast option to, first of all, to hop into and immediately be quick, and secondly is something to be competitive in against people with actual racing wheels like G2090, 150, and that's only scraping the surface. Some people are willing to invest thousands and thousands of dollars or pounds, wherever you're from, into this hobby that we call sim racing. And when that's the case, spending 30 something dollars or spending 2000 rupees on one of these controllers might seem like a great entry point, but what you should actually be doing if you really want to take sim racing seriously and you want to do it full time, look to save up some money and move past one of these. A racing wheel, from experience, I can tell you I'm not a sim racer of much experience. I've been doing it for maybe 6-7 months now, but in that time I have learned quite a lot. And the one thing is, coming from a controller to a racing wheel is a whole different dynamic. This can't even compare to that, unfortunately. And that really is the conclusion. This, while viable, is not advised. If you do enjoy it, please subscribe to the channel. I'm an Indian sim racer, and while I might not be the fastest driver out there, I might be one of the most entertaining. Almost at 80 subscribers. Thank you guys very much for your support. But do like and subscribe. Anyways, thank you guys very much for watching. This has been your boy 8 Cylinders, wearing a lovely hoodie in a nice cold room, waiting for my new wheel to arrive. Should be here any minute now. Take care, guys. Bye bye.